I'm Jenna Middaugh. Coming up on 11 News at noon, Fort Carson started vaccinating healthcare workers on post this morning, the big milestone for this military installation. Plus, 9 months into this pandemic and nurses are burning out. What one local nurse says is helping them get through. And let's take a live look outside. It was a nice start to our day, but get ready to feel that wind. Meteorologist Sydney Jackson has everything you need to know about the changes ahead. Join us at noon.
This is KKTV 11 News at noon.
Fort Carson is the first military installation in Colorado to get Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine, and the Post started vaccinating healthcare workers this morning. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Jenna Middaugh. We'll get to that story in just a second, but first we do want to start with this developing news. A man is in the hospital in critical condition after getting burned in a fire. The fire sparked at a vacant restaurant near Memorial Park this morning. Colorado Springs firefighters say someone nearby saw the man on fire and took off their own jacket to try to suppress the flames. Firefighters say they had to cut off the man's clothes to prevent the burns from getting worse. CSFD is still trying to figure out how the fire started. Today, Fort Carson started vaccinating healthcare workers at Evans Army Community Hospital, along with emergency services personnel. The Mountain Post got a shipment of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccines yesterday, the first military installation in Colorado to receive that vaccine. Fort Carson says the vaccine is voluntary, but Department of Defense personnel are highly encouraged to get it. The Mountain Post says the vaccine will be offered to patients, family members, and retirees at a later date after prioritized groups have already been vaccinated. Right now, even though many of us might be feeling a sense of relief now that 2 COVID-19 vaccines have been approved for emergency use in the U.S., healthcare workers say the fight is still far from over. 11 News spoke with Memorial Hospital's chief nursing officer. She says many nurses are picking up extra shifts, sometimes working more than 48 hours a week.
Studies show that.
She said one thing, though, that is helping nurses pull through this tough time is encouragement from the community. They've been getting letters from people thanking them for saving their lives. All right, time now for your No Wait weather with meteorologist Sydney Jackson.
Well, we woke up to a cool start across southern Colorado.
We'll check in soon. Thank you, Sydney. Police in Alamosa are investigating a deadly shooting that killed a teenager. It happened yesterday afternoon. Police say they were called to the scene near Main Street and 6th, right in the middle of town. They tried to save the teen who had been shot, but that person died at a hospital. While investigating, detectives found what they thought was a homemade explosive device. The Pueblo Bomb Squad was called in and disposed of the hazard. Investigators arrested 20-year-old Isaiah Atencio. He's facing charges for manslaughter, assault, and possession of an explosive device. Happening now, local leaders are asking the state to allow indoor dining at restaurants in El Paso County. Right now, indoor seating is banned because the county is at level red. In a letter to Governor Polis, local leaders are requesting to open indoor dining at 25% capacity, then expand that to 50% in 2 weeks if the numbers keep declining. Local business owners say they're thankful city and county leaders are stepping up.
It's encouraging that
the next step is to wait to see how the state responds to this proposal. We'll update you as soon as we learn more. Some relief is coming to local small businesses. Pueblo County got $5.8 million from the CARES Act. The county says it plans to use all that money for economic recovery grants to help local businesses and the local economy. Businesses qualify if they previously applied for relief but did not receive the money because funds ran out. The county says it has to get this money out by December 30th.
Getting this money.
County commissioners also say they plan to provide more funding for local businesses starting next month. Right now, one of our own employees here at KKTV is sharing her COVID-19 survival story after some pretty scary weeks in the hospital hooked up to a ventilator. Becky was isolating at home after she tested positive for COVID-19 about a month ago. Her symptoms ended up getting so bad, she went to the ER. Becky says she had to wait in the ER for a full day before a room was available for her, and she tells us she got the hospital's last ventilator. Becky says she's grateful for the doctors and nurses who helped her pull through.
I did hear from one of the doctors right before I went home.
Becky is now on oxygen, which she will likely have to use for months until her lungs recover. Looking ahead, our state lawmakers won't be back at the Capitol until mid-February to work on legislation. The Colorado House and Senate are now planning to delay the 2021 session. Lawmakers say the pause will allow more time for vaccine distribution and for coronavirus cases to subside. The The General Assembly is planning to meet on January 13th for the swearing in of new members and any urgent business. Then they will enter a temporary recess until February 16th unless there's an emergency. Developing now, it could be a little while before unemployed Coloradans see any of the additional benefits approved by Congress. Colorado's Labor Department says any new benefits will roll out around the same time its system undergoes a full overhaul. According to our sister station in Denver, the change comes after the agency has overcome several hurdles caused by an outdated system. The upgrade was initially scheduled to happen last April, but the pandemic forced the department to delay the revamping. Happening now, Colorado Parks and Wildlife is asking for your help to find whoever poached a moose and left most of its body to rot. According to CPW, the moose's body was found Saturday near Kenosha Pass. That's about an hour southwest of Denver. Wildlife officials say no moose or elk hunting was allowed when the moose was killed. Anyone with information about who might have done it could earn a $1,000 reward. A Colorado woman has to pay about $300 in fines and court costs for leaking sealed court documents in the murder case of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. Sherry Farstveit pleaded guilty to leaking the arrest papers for Letitia Stauch. Prosecutors say the paralegal abused access she had to court filings in Adams County. The papers had been sealed until the details could be disclosed to Gannon's family. A second round of stimulus has finally been passed. Coming up on 11 News at noon, how soon you could get a check in the mail. Plus, what scientists know about the new mutant strain of the coronavirus first identified in the UK. Stimulus checks will be in the mail soon. That's the word from the Treasury Secretary following congressional approval last night of the long-awaited second round of coronavirus economic aid. Skylar Henry has the latest from Washington. Governor Jared Polis released another statement on the passage of the federal stimulus package. He said, quote, hardworking Coloradans, our schools, and our small businesses deserve real relief. This is an important step and one that will help our state and country build back stronger than before the pandemic. I'm thankful to the majority of Colorado's federal delegation who worked to pass this bipartisan COVID relief package and continue to urge Washington to provide additional help to those in need. Let's check in with Sydney now.
Well, we are going to warm back up for the end of the week.
The U.S. surpassed 18 million coronavirus infections yesterday. It's the 49th straight day of more than 100,000 new daily cases. As the virus continues to surge, the nation's top health officials are trying to build confidence in the vaccine. Elise Preston reports from New York.
Some of the nation's top health officials.
There does seem to be growing acceptance to taking the vaccine. A new USA Today Suffolk University poll shows 46% of people said they would take it as soon as possible. That's nearly double from October. This is developing now. Health officials around the world are studying the new mutation of the coronavirus. It was first identified in the UK and appears to be more contagious. There's concern now that the new COVID variant could put more strain on an already overwhelmed healthcare system in the UK. Nearly 90% of hospital beds in England are now full. While there's still a lot to learn about this virus mutation, experts say what they know so far is promising.
There's zero evidence at this point.
More than 40 countries have closed their doors to the UK. That's forced hundreds of drivers to spend a second rainy night in their trucks waiting at the border. All right, I know we're not even to Christmas yet, but as you're preparing for the holiday, keep in mind what you can and cannot recycle. Waste Management released this list of things you should throw away versus things you can recycle. Pretty much any Christmas decoration should be thrown away. You can recycle clean cardboard boxes, paper-based packing materials and greeting cards, wrapping paper and gift bags or boxes, as long as they're plain or white, no glossy or glittery material. We'll be right back. Looking ahead, high school winter sports practices can start on January 18th. The Colorado Department of Health approved that timeline. Originally, Season B was proposed to start in February. CHSAA says it plans to revise its calendar to start competitions as early as January 25th for basketball, ice hockey, skiing, girls swimming, wrestling, and competitive spirit. It's not clear, though, how the new start date will affect the remaining sports seasons that are still happening right now. And this is happening now. There's an unprecedented need for substitute teachers in Colorado Springs. Our news partners at the Gazette report the need has never been greater. Many subs are retired and elderly and therefore at higher risk for the coronavirus. A lack of substitutes contributed to the need for many districts to switch to remote learning this semester. The state introduced a new type of authorization for subs this year, though. It requires only a high school diploma or equivalent and a fingerprint. Well, thank you so much for watching and joining us here at noon. Remember, KKTV is your breaking news and weather leader. We're always online at kktv.com and on Facebook. We'll see you back here for 11 News at 4.